Our nation's sports show. For the first time, it's a Monday night edition of our nation's sports show. Join us tonight as we bring to you the latest breaking news in the NFL, including one of the top stories of this week. After 1 year as the starting quarterback with the Atlanta Falcons, Kirk Cousins, after struggling in the last 5 games at the end of the regular season, he could be released by the team. Tonight, we also bring to you our Week 16 analysis in the National Football League. During Week 16, a Christmas miracle took place in our nation's capital. Also during Week 16, more playoff spots were clinched and more teams were eliminated from playoff contingency. Tonight, we also bring to you our Week 17 prediction battles. From all of us here on the Sports Show, we wish you all a very Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. For the next 2 weeks, our nation's sports show takes over Monday night. It's showtime.
Good up to the court, talking all that is sport, breaking down the latest news, scores, and more. Welcome to our Nation Sports Show. For the first time ever, it is a Monday edition of our Nation Sports Show. We are live, everybody. What is going on? For the next 2 weeks, we will be live coming at you on the night before Christmas Eve and the night before New Year's Eve. We will be coming to you worldwide on the World Wide Web here on YouTube on a Monday night. What is going on, everybody? I'm your host for this evening at the 11th hour, Stephen Wyand. What is going on, everybody? Welcome to another outstanding edition of the Sports Show. And before I get to my co-host joining me this evening, we got to plug the social media platforms, everybody. Up first on Twitter, at ON_Sports Show, Facebook.com/Nation Sports Show, and where we are currently live on a Monday night for the very first time, 7 p.m. Eastern. You know what time it is. Same time. Sometimes same day, but regardless, same YouTube channel at youtube.com/Nation Sports Show. Be sure to like, share, subscribe, and all of that good stuff to your family and your friends that love the world of sports just as much as we do. And joining me right now is my fellow brother from another mother. He is very happy that his Washington Commanders got payback big time against them Dirty Birds in Philadelphia on Sunday, and a last-minute clutch touchdown for the ages. He is also an Atlanta Braves baseball fan. He is also an all-around good dude. My man, JT, Joey Thornton, what's going on, man?
Hey, what's going on, everybody? Hope everybody's having a great Monday. Me, I'm personally feeling a lot better after feeling like crap Saturday night into all day Sunday because of some stomach issues. But I'm here. I'm ready to talk some sports. And as far as that game on Sunday goes, well, what can I say? Revenge is a dish best served cold on ice.
Mwah. Yes. And we will be getting into all of the happenings of Week 16 in the National Football League and then some. And we figured, since nobody wants to be doing shows on Christmas Eve and New Year's Eve, we figure why not? Let's do the show during a Monday night on the night of a Monday night football game. And tonight, wrapping up the Week 16 portion of the National Football League's regular season for 2024-25, it is the Green Bay Packers in frigid Green Bay, where it's going to be snowing 2 days before Christmas, against the New Orleans Saints. And the Saints are not used to that weather. But old Green Bay fans and players that have come and gone and played in that organization, they get used to the frozen tundras of Green Bay. And knowing those Green Bay fans, they don't care. They don't care about it's so cold outside. They could be singing the tune, "Baby, It's Cold Outside," but they don't care because they're at the football game with their other fans, of this organization that they have been diehard fans for a long time. And
Exactly. And for those of y'all who don't understand, I only have 2 words for you. Ice bowl.
Yep.
Ice bowl. That's all you need to hear.
Absolutely. It's crazy. I mean, when you think about all of the games that have taken place in Green Bay during this time of the year, especially when Green Bay has been as much as competitive as they have been all year long, they're right in the playoff thick of things. They pretty much controlled their own destiny, to make it into one of these wild card spots. Right now, I believe they're holding the 6th spot in the playoffs.
They are.
And it's wild to think that Green Bay, for a second consecutive year, right there with Minnesota and right there with Detroit, 3 teams are more than likely going to make it to the playoffs in the NFC North division, a very hotly competitive division. Well, except if you're Chicago. But sorry, Ezra, but facts are the facts. That's our times. That's our times. Chicago has not won a game since the fail Mary in the Windy City's eyes, since they lost to the Commanders in that wild game. They've lost 9 consecutive games in a row, have Chicago, after starting 4-2. Oh boy. Before we get to the NFL, I do want to run down real quick the scores from the college football. Got it right here, actually. In the first round, this is the first time that the NCAA has done a 12-team playoff bracket ever in college football's history. So kicking off the first round, and mind you, all of these games were blowouts. Spoiler alert, Notre Dame took out Indiana 27-17. The next day on the 21st, you had Penn State dominated SMU. They turned the ball over multiple times in this game, couldn't get nothing going. Penn State dominated SMU 38-10. You had Texas beating Clemson 38-20. And Ohio State took out Tennessee 42-17. Yawn. Like, I get it from a competitive standpoint. This is cool to have 12 teams in a playoff scenario. But Joe, let me ask you this: like, even though these games were all blowouts, do you think that can this be doable? Or do they just don't care? Does the NCAA just don't care? Because, like, if the games are a blowout, people are not going to tune in. I know I'm not.
Oh, I'm sorry. Is it time for me to wake up from my nap now? Because that's what these playoff games were. They were snooze fests.
Yeah, it was
absolute
bad.
Snooze fest from the word get-go.
It was bad.
They were bad. I mean, yes, some of these games were actually kind of thrilling for about a minute or two. I mean, Indiana, they finally got exposed against a good team in Notre Dame. Oh my God, I just call Notre Dame a good team? Oh boy. Oh boy
is right.
Anywho, But yeah, you had Clemson beating Texas 38-24, and then, gosh, do I even have to talk about these two? Penn State blowing the crap out of SMU after their quarterback threw not one, not two, but 3 picks in the first half, with 2 of those picks being returned for pick sixes. I mean, that SMU quarterback, I don't know what was going on with him, but he just was not on his A game. Now, granted, a lot of people will say, oh, well, SMU still deserve to be in the playoff picture because Alabama lost 3 games this year, yada, yada, yada. And I'm like, you know what? That's fine. If you want to believe that, go ahead. Because I believe that also. Because Alabama, we lost some horrible games this year. Horrible games. And we didn't deserve to go to the playoff. So I've said it before and I'll say it again. I'm glad we didn't go to the playoffs this year. Because now it woke up the mindsets of these players saying, oh, well, I mean, I guess if we don't give 100% best effort out there, we're not going to win a game. And that's what happened. That is exactly what happened. So, I mean, again, SMU, full kudos to them for making it to the playoffs. Absolute kudos. I'm proud of them for making it at least to the ACC championship game and coming up just short in their first year in the conference. So I'm proud of them. I really am. And I just hope that Bama can wake up come next year and put their best team out there every single Saturday, every chance they get. But yeah, these playoff matchups, they were pathetic. Absolutely pathetic. And I brought this up, I can't remember if it was last week or 2 weeks ago on the show, but I get the fact that you want to have conference champions represent the highest seeds in the playoff picture, but what you can also configure is the fact that if you're going to have a conference champion, then I would say 9.9 times out of 10, they're going to be a high seed in the national rankings.
Mm-hmm.
So, with that being said, and I highly doubt the committee is going to do anything about it, because the committee don't know their head from their own ass, apparently. But if you really want to have a outstanding college football playoff picture, you need to ditch the conference championships, ditch the automatic rankings, ditch this and ditch that, and actually put the teams ranked 1 through 12 in the playoff picture and have those 12 teams fight to be the last team standing. Because I'm willing to bet you that if we would have had seeds 1 through 12 in the playoffs this year instead of the whole conference champion mumbo jumbo crap, we actually would have had some very interesting games to watch over this past weekend. We would have. But again, I say, the College Football Playoff Committee, they can't tell their head from their own ass because they got their heads so far stuck up in it that they can't even see straight. Just saying.
Yeah, it's frustrating as a sports fan because when the games are non-competitive, it just makes you tune out even more quicker. And this is the thing too, like when it comes to take for instance like the NFL. The NFL gets it right because everything is ranked by your records. Not just you being a conference champion or a divisional champion, of that that division. You know, like it's all based off the record, and that's where they get it right. NBA, same thing. Usually, the top 4 teams are usually the teams that have their respective, division titles. In the Pacific, and all that, the South, and all that type of stuff. Maybe it'll be more competitive next year. Maybe for the first round, and hopefully so. But but speaking of competitive, hopefully the quarterfinals will be more competitive. And kicking off the quarterfinals on New Year's Eve, it is going to be the Fiesta Bowl. Boise State taking on number 6 ranked Penn State on New Year's Day 2025. In the Peach Bowl, it's going to be the number 4th ranked Arizona State versus the 5th ranked Texas. In the Rose Bowl, it's going to be number 1 overall ranked Oregon versus the Ohio State University. In the Sugar Bowl, it will be Georgia taking on, which Georgia's ranked number 2. Georgia will be taking on the number 7th ranked Notre Dame Fighting Irish. So hopefully these games will be competitive. Crossing our fingers. Crossing our fingers.
Crossing our fingers.
And moving on, before we get to the NFL, one thing that jumped out to me, Joey, and this hit me like a ton of bricks on Friday, when it came out, for those that were not keeping score in the NBA, the Memphis Grizzlies, not only did they beat the Golden State Warriors, but they ran them out of the gym. Oh, it was such a bad performance by the Golden State Warriors. And mind you, Stephen Curry did not score not one single bucket. He only scored 2 points from the free throw line. He was 0 of 7 from the field. 0 and 6 from the three-point line. They got beat, Golden State did, by 51. It was non-competitive all the way around. And also, for those keeping score, this was the first game in which Curry and Draymond Green did not score not one single bucket in the same game for the first time since they've been in Golden State together. Unbelievable. Golden State had one of the best records in the NBA at 12-3, and they have been on a losing streak. Unreal. That game hit me. That game hit me in the fields because I cannot believe how bad Golden State played in this game.
Yeah, they were bad. Absolutely bad.
Very bad. I mean, now as far as Golden State is concerned, do you think that can they recover? Because right now they went from being one of the top teams in the West, now they're ranked number 10. I mean, can they? I mean, we know the NBA season is a very long season. But can Golden State recover?
I think so. I mean, it is too early, and when it comes to talking about playoff picture in the NBA. It is very early. So anything can happen at any given time. And also, while we're on the NBA, I do want to give a special congratulations to, and I cannot believe I'm saying this, Coach Doc Rivers, assistant coach Darvin Ham, and the Milwaukee Bucks for winning the NBA Cup this year, beating the Oklahoma City Thunder in astounding fashion.
For once, Doc Rivers actually has done something in a while.
Yep.
Yeah, I think Golden State can rally the troops because they do got Curry, obviously, and Curry, he's the focal point, he's the leader of this team. But they're gonna have to do some serious soul searching and figure out what went wrong, what has gone wrong the last couple of weeks. This is the same team that beat the Boston Celtics and ended their winning streak in the season this year, early on. Unreal. And also to mention in this game, mind you, the score was 144, Memphis, Golden State 93. Memphis also set a franchise record in this game by hitting 27 three-pointers. Crazy. Crazy, 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 crazy. Moving on. Here we go. The NFL portion of the schedule. Now, before we get to the games, a big news item that jumped off for me is Kirk Cousins. Big story coming out of the NFL. Kirk Cousins, after 1 year with Atlanta, the Falcons could be cutting him at the end of the season before the bonus kicks in. $10 million.
Shoot, they are. They pretty much said they're going to because they're ready to move on with Michael Penix.
And I remember going into this, we were all wondering why. Why are you going to be having Michael Penix be the number 8th overall selection in the 2024 NFL draft? We, all of us on this show, myself, you, Ezra, and Kevin, personally laughed at Atlanta, what they did. Because you signed Kirk Cousins to this maximum $100+ million contract with Atlanta. And over the last 5 to 6 games, Kirk Cousins has struggled mightily. Interceptions after interceptions, fumble after fumbles. The touchdown numbers have gone down drastically. Atlanta at one point was one of the hottest teams in the NFL, and they have gone ice cold. Ice cold. They're barely over 500. They just got over 500. They're 8-7 after they had a slight lead in the NFC South division. And also the craziest thing, too, is Kirk Cousins in Atlanta won the tiebreaker against Tampa Bay. And Tampa Bay kind of controls their destiny, considering that they have had a better run than Atlanta has. But still, if Atlanta and Tampa Bay somehow end up tied, Atlanta controls their destiny by default because A, better conference record, and they got the tiebreaker over the Buccaneers. And it's honestly crazy to think that Michael Penix is now not a bad choice to have as your starter because Kirk Cousins was doing so bad with Atlanta the last several weeks. And it just begs the question. And I asked you this too, Joey, and you've had enough time to think about this too as well. Will Kirk Cousins be a starter in the National Football League come next season in 2025? Because as we all know, Captain Kirk, especially in primetime, is not good. He was not good in Washington in primetime, and he especially was not good in primetime with Minnesota. And I'm just wondering because the number when Kirk Cousins is on his A game, he's a pretty solid quarterback. We can all agree with that. But he has a tendency to blow the game up in the wrong reasons by flipping the game on its ass by turning the ball over. And Ezra has just posted his scores, and I will be rattling off his scores for week 17.
But yeah, as far as that question, will Kirk Cousins be a starter come next year in the NFL? My answer to that is, or actually, you know what? Instead of me saying it, allow me to sing it. No.
Yeah.
It's that simple. Because Kirk Cousins was brought into Atlanta. And keep in mind that at that time, coming into the season, the Falcons were seen as a threat to win the NFC South.
Mm-hmm.
And granted, they still might, depending on what happens in the near, or depending on what happens in these next couple of weeks. What?
It is honestly amazing how Atlanta, Atlanta, after signing Kirk Cousins to this $100+ million deal and the results he
Hang
has put
on,
up on the field,
I will be right back.
it's all good. Atlanta, after having Kirk Cousins start off as good as he was, he had put up some pretty solid numbers with Atlanta. And then over the last 5 to 6 games, he's just turned the ball over. And it begs the question, that's why I asked it to Joe yesterday, because when you look at the teams out there who are looking for quarterbacks, Cleveland's probably going to be trying to look for another quarterback because Jameis Winston is a turnover machine, and Deshaun Watson, we don't know his future in the NFL, especially with the injuries that he has had and the bad performances that he has had. So it wouldn't surprise me if Cleveland ate that contract. But that also begs the question, too, because Kirk Cousins, Atlanta would have to be eating that big, massive contract that he has, with that they signed him to. And if you're the Falcons, you need to cut him before the bonus, date is due, because if not, you're going to be having to eat all of the money that you paid this guy. They paid him like he was Patrick Mahomes. They paid him like he was Lamar Jackson. They paid him like, he was Peyton Manning in his prime or Tom Brady in his prime. Paid him like he's Josh Allen or Joe Burrow. I mean, but we all know that Kirk Cousins is a disaster waiting to happen, because at any given point, Cousins could make a mistake and could do a bad thing and throw a ball in a bad spot, where it's not going to fit in the tight window. And it just drives me crazy as a football fan, because when you look at some of the things that Cousins has done over his career with Minnesota, with the Commanders, and now with Atlanta, he has put up numbers that are not good. Not good. And it drives me crazy as a football fan, because we all can see how bad he's been playing. And it is unbelievable to me, because like the turnovers that he has had have cost Atlanta a lot of these games. It's bad when he's benched after last week's horrible Monday Night Football game against the Raiders. And that also begs the question, too, if you're the Jacksonville Jaguars. Could he go to Jacksonville? Because Trevor Lawrence has been inconsistent, but he's tied up in a big contract. There's a lot of uncertainty with Kirk Cousins right now. Could he go to the Giants? Could he go to Tennessee? Could Chicago make a move? Will New Orleans make a move? There's a lot of uncertainty right now, because Kirk Cousins does not have the track record on his resume that says, yeah, we could throw him a shit ton of money and he'll produce results on the football field. Kirk Cousins has been underachieving and under-delivering all season long in this last 5 to 6 week stretch for Atlanta. I mean, Atlanta was about 3 games or so over 500, and they went on this massive losing streak. It is just unbelievable when you look at where Cousins was at the start of this season and the midway point of the season, where he was starting to hit a groove and making accurate throws and being consistent. And now he's not only on the bench, now Kirk Cousins is going to be out of Atlanta after under-delivering the last 5 to 6 weeks. And I also asked this question, Joey. I want to get your thoughts as well on this. Could he go to Tennessee? Because they need a quarterback. Could he go to Vegas? Could he go to Jacksonville? Because, I mean, Trevor Lawrence has been not doing so good. Could he go to New Orleans? Because Derek Carr, you know, how he's been at times injury prone. You know, there's just endless questions right now that are not going to be answered right now because pretty much could he go to the Giants? I mean, because there's a lot of questions that that are unanswered right now because pretty much every team in the NFL has their starting quarterback.
Yeah, I mean, just about every team does have their starting quarterback, except for those few, like you said. But of course, I wonder if teams such as the Titans, the Raiders, I wouldn't quite say the Jaguars because Trevor Lawrence, yeah, he did have a bad year this year, but they're not going to give up on Trevor Lawrence just yet. And then if Trevor Lawrence does wind up getting injured or not playing good, they do have Mac Jones, which is not really much of an improvement. But
and real quick, the game that I think that really turned for Cousins' demise with Atlanta was the 4 interception performance against the Chargers in that 17-13 loss. I think that was the game. That was the game that they started to think, wait a minute, something's not clicking here. And then when Minnesota throttled them 42-21, that was also his undoing. And also the Broncos beating the piss. That's another game. The Broncos beating the piss out of the Falcons 38-6. It was a stretch of inconsistency for Atlanta. Saints beating the Falcons 20-17.
And I mean, like I was saying before, I had to leave for just a few minutes. But going into the year, the Atlanta Falcons, they knew that they were going to be one of the threats to win the NFC South this year, and they still might, depending on what happens these last couple weeks. However, when you have a quarterback like Kirk Cousins, who was given all this money, and also you surround him with young, elite talent such as Bijan Robinson, Drake London, Kyle Pitts. I mean, those are 3 very handy offensive weapons that you have on your roster. So if you're not producing results, then you know there is a problem.
Absolutely.
I mean, honestly, this Atlanta Falcons team is, and I cannot believe I'm actually saying this, but they're actually looking like the Carolina Panthers from earlier this season.
Yes!
And when Bryce Young couldn't do anything because his O-line wouldn't protect him and his receivers couldn't get open to save his life. That's pretty much what Atlanta has been with Kirk Cousins as their quarterback. And I mean, it's kind of hard for a quarterback to produce results when he's either A, running around like his head's cut off, B, lying on his back, or C, all the above. Or C, or actually both A and B, I should say. But Kirk Cousins has had his time to throw these passes. He's had his time to try to make plays on certain occasions for Atlanta, but he just hasn't done it. And see, and like we talked about on the phone last night, all this money that they paid Kirk Cousins, and now they're about 95% sure that they're going to release him once the new season gets underway. I believe it is middle of March, if I'm not mistaken.
Something like that.
So that pretty much means that all that money that they gave Kirk Cousins whenever he first signed the deal, you might as well just flush it down the gold toilet seat, because that's where it's going. That is where it's going.
Yep, going straight down the drain for Atlanta. Straight down the drain. And when you look at all of the contracts that have been paid to these athletes over the years, this will go down as one of the worst contracts handed out to any quarterback in NFL history.
And trust me, as a Washington fan, I can relate.
Yes, you can. And moving on to the NFL Week 16 scoreboard, we will recap some of these games as we go along. Kicking off Thursday Night Football, it was the Chargers beating the Broncos by the final tune of 34-27 in a highly competitive game. Really good game by both teams. Bo Nix played well. Justin Herbert played well. The Chargers defense played well. Everybody involved in this game played a very solid game. Hats off to both teams. On Saturday, we had two games. We were treated to that. You had the Chiefs in Arrowhead taking on C.J. Stroud and the Texans, and the Chiefs once again win another consecutive one-score game as they beat the Texans 27-19. And this game was marred by one of the most severe, scariest injuries of the season as Tank Dell for a second consecutive year after injuring that same ACL in the same leg. He's injured it again, and it's also dislocated his knee. And he will need season-ending surgery, and just feel bad for the guy. I mean, just heartbroken. I mean, not only that, but he caught the touchdown to bring Houston to within a point of tying the game. And when he went down with the injury, like C.J. Stroud was obviously emotional. He was crying, and I don't blame him. You know, that's your teammate. That's your guy. You know, that, you know, you were thinking, man, if we would have had him, we could have gone further, maybe in the playoffs. But it sucks. But that's the nature of the beast. That's the nature of playing in this violent sport. And it sucks, you know, that this happened. And all of us here on the Sports Show, we send our thoughts, our prayers, our well wishes to Tank Dell, and that he hopefully can get healthy and his recovery time goes smooth, because this is another gruesome injury added to the list upon gruesome injuries for Tank Dell.
And plus the fact that C.J. Stroud has now lost another pass catching threat, because keep in mind earlier this year he lost his number one wideout, Stephon Diggs.
Yep.
Oh, I'm sorry, I didn't realize I was on mute. But anyway, keep in mind that C.J. Stroud has now lost another deep threat, because earlier this year, in case you guys don't remember, he lost his number one wideout, Stephon Diggs.
Losing Stephon Diggs, you know, torn ACL, and now the same thing happens to Tank Dell. You know, it just, the timing just could not be any worse for the Texans. And yeah, the Texans have already wrapped up the AFC South division, you know, last week in their game that they won. But this week, going against the Chiefs, like we knew it was going to be a daunting task. But now it's going to be even more of a daunting task for the Texans to make a move into playoffs come January, because being down a wide receiver that Stroud could trust and could throw to in critical situations, now being down one of his favorite targets, that's just bad luck for the Texans. But if you want to call this part that I'm about to say a positive, I guess you could, because they just signed free agent receiver Deontay Johnson.
Oh, really?
Yes.
Huh, now that's news to me, because I hadn't heard that.
Yep. Deontay Johnson is now a Texan, and they made the right move, because they needed to pick up a wide receiver, that has experience in catching. He's been around the block. I mean, he played with Pittsburgh and just played with Baltimore. I mean, just the timing for him couldn't be any more perfect, because now going to a team that needs a receiver in the Texans, maybe this will be the time for him and Stroud to develop their connection when they play this week. And Mahomes had a couple of touchdowns in this game. Kareem Hunt and Pacheco had good rushing games this past Saturday in that game. Defense made some plays. Stroud had 2 ugly interceptions in this game. It was not a good day at the office for Stroud. And the next game on Saturday, the Ravens took on the Steelers in a game that was highly competitive for about 3.5 quarters. And then the pick six happened. Because after Lamar Jackson threw a pick six against the Steelers defense, Russell Wilson, Chef Russ, was cooking again, almost like his days in Denver. He threw a pick six right to Humphreys. And that game was pretty much all she wrote. It was pretty much a done deal after that. Then Baltimore gets revenge. I mean, Derrick Henry had another great game in this game. Lamar Jackson had another great game. Bateman had a good game as well, the receiver for Baltimore. Baltimore's defense made some big plays. And give credit to Baltimore, especially give credit to Justin Tucker, because finally Justin Tucker's coming out party happened on Saturday, making 50-plus yard kicks like we known Tucker to do, down the stretch. And, when Baltimore called upon him to do so, and he used to, and this year he struggled. But finally, a signing of Justin Tucker we finally thought we were going to see all season long, him making his field goals and making the extra points and all of that type of stuff. So congrats to Tucker, and company, for producing results on the field. And Baltimore controls their destiny with 2 games to go. If they somehow finish in a tie, Pittsburgh still owns the tiebreaker by virtue of the better conference record. Moving to the Sunday schedule, and oh boy. Do I want to go with the crazy one first, or do we just want to move down the schedule real quick, and then we'll save the best for last? What do you think?
Let's say the best ones for last. Let's get the snooze fest out the way first.
Oh, you mean the Raiders versus the Jaguars? Yeah, yawn, 19-14 Raiders.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
The Falcons beat up on the Giants, yawn, 31-7, yada yada yada. We get it, blah 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 blah. The
Rams beating up on the Jets, yawn.
19-9.
How about the game that surprised me for sure, and I'm pretty sure it surprised the whole Bills Mafia. How about Josh Allen and the Bills barely struggling to get by the Patriots? And the Patriots were up 14-0 at one point.
I'm just making sure that I got. Let's see, where is it? Stand correct. It was the Falcons 34, Giants 7. Carolina beat the Cardinals, and by virtue of this win, and the Rams, this win by the Panthers and the Cardinals losing, and the Rams winning, Arizona is now eliminated from playoff contingency.
Indeed.
I mean, Kyler Murray and company at one point had a good shot at winning the NFC West, and they picked a wrong time to struggle these last 4 to 5 weeks, just like the Atlanta has. Detroit beat up on Chicago 31-17, and Detroit just keeps on rocking and rolling 13-2. Speaking of 13-2, the Vikings are also 13-2. The Vikings beat Seattle in a highly competitive game at the 12th man's field, 27-24. Dolphins beat the Niners 27-19, or 29-17, excuse me. Colts survived the Titans 38-30. in a game in which Indianapolis rushed over 200 yards.
Jonathan Taylor, he was a man on a mission.
70 yards and 65 yards, respectively, for Jonathan Taylor on those rushing TDs. And
also keep in mind, in those long touchdown runs, he held on to the ball this time.
Yeah. Hey.
He actually held on to the ball. Bravo, sir.
Cincinnati continues to be on a hot streak, winning 24-6. They beat up on Cleveland, and right now Cincinnati is in firm position to control their destiny, but they have to win out. And if you're Cincinnati, wondering where the hell was this all season long? Because where was this all season long? The Cowboys beat the Buccaneers, and you want to talk about a wacky, weird game? This was the game. 26-24, Dallas beat Tampa Bay in one of the weirdest Sunday night games of all time. And you touched upon the Bills and Patriots game, 24-21, Buffalo won. And this game was shocking to me, considering how Buffalo struggled during the first couple of quarters of this game. And Josh Allen and company finally got it going. And they made the plays on both ends of the field, and Buffalo continues to win their games and be right behind Kansas City. And Buffalo, if they win out, basically, they can get the number 1 seed, and the Kansas City somehow loses one of these couple of games. And I guess we save the best for last. What am I talking about, ladies and gentlemen? The Washington Commanders. Stunning fashion beat the Philadelphia Eagles in our nation's capital 36-33 on a Jaden Daniels last-second touchdown pass with 6 seconds to go in regulation in one of the most stunning upsets of the year. Just when you thought the Hail Mary was unbelievable, Jaden Daniels said, hold my beer.
Yeah, I mean, yes, we had a lot of trouble with ball security because Daniels threw 2 picks and we fumbled the ball away on 3 other occasions, which meant we had 5 turnovers in the game, which is very unheard of for a team that wins. But when Philadelphia could not capitalize on those turnovers, Washington was like, well, you know what? If you ain't going to capitalize, we're going to give y'all some football hell, and that's exactly what we did.
They did, and we touched upon it yesterday, too. And I heard it from radio, from radio personalities and football analysts, from around the NFL, saying that if this would have been the old Washington, then Redskins, and now Commanders, if this would have been the old Washington team of years of old, they would have not recovered from this game. Because all the other teams that had 4 to 5 or more turnovers, hell, even 3 turnovers or 2 turnovers, anytime Washington has lost a turnover battle, they have lost these games. This is not the prototypical Washington team that we have grown accustomed to over the years, because now they are out of the clutches of the one Dan Snyder. Josh Harris and company has done a phenomenal job rebuilding this franchise from the ground below and taking it to the highest of heights they have not seen, honestly, Joey, since 2012, when Robert Griffin III led the Redskins to an over 10-win season, and the Redskins won the NFC East division. Now the Commanders, they're called, have won 10 games for the first time since 2012, 10-5 right now in Washington, with a victory against Atlanta controls their destiny, and they are in the playoffs if they beat Atlanta. And honestly, Joey, this could not come at a better time for this team, because we touched upon it when the draft happened. Who is the Commanders going to pick as their quarterback? And Jaden Daniels was the talk of the town. Maybe he could be the guy. Turns out he was the guy. And he is the guy going forward, because he is the rookie of the year. This guy is a rookie, but he's playing like a 5 to 7 year pro. He is making dazzling plays that you will have to see to believe. The Hail Mary against Chicago, the near miracle against the Cowboys when Scary Terry McLaurin caught that 80-plus yard touchdown against the Cowboys. And then last night, or yesterday afternoon, against Philadelphia, after Washington coughed up that game in Philadelphia on Thursday Night Football, when Philadelphia ended up pulling away pretty much. Yeah, they won by virtue of a wacky score, 26-18. But Washington made a lot of mistakes during that game. Turnovers, trying to be too fancy, make all these big plays and stuff like that, not playing fundamental, sound football. And now Jaden Daniels gets sweet revenge against Philadelphia at home in front of their entire fans. And I know Washington fans that have been with this team through the good times, the bad times, they are happy right now because their team is on the doorstep of being in the tournament, of being in the dance, of being in a legitimate shot to honestly shake things up. Because even if Washington is one of the final wild card spots, it would not surprise me that whoever they face, there's a legitimate shot, Joey, that I think that Washington could make a bold move to make somewhat of a push. Because in the NFC, from the second spot, even through the seventh spot, it's a pretty wide open, topsy-turvy, who can make a run. Now, we know Detroit is the number 1 seed right now. But if you look at the NFC, from the top to the bottom, it's a stacked playoff race right now. Because you got the Lions, you got the Rams who are playing really good football, you got the Vikings who are playing great football, you got the Packers who are, right there on Detroit and Minnesota's heels. And if you're Minnesota, you need to keep pace with Detroit, because if you lose one of these next couple of games, that could spell trouble for you. And because if I'm not mistaken, if Minnesota loses to Green Bay on Sunday, Detroit wins, they get the number 1 seed.
That is very true.
And when you look at it this from a story perspective, Joey, when it comes to the NFL this year, this has been one of the most interesting years of NFL history, because the Detroit Lions are 13-2, the best record that they have had in their 90-plus year as a franchise existing in the NFL. To think where this team has come and gone over the last half a century plus, the ups, the downs, the misery, the failures, the 0-16 record that they had in 2008, the countless years of having Calvin Johnson and Matthew Stafford, and where they are today. Dan Campbell has a group of men that believe in him. And speaking of the Lions, good news for Detroit that David Montgomery could possibly return to the team and play, because he avoided surgery on his MCL, and he could return in the divisional round for the Lions. And when you look at the landscape of things, it's a very interesting situation how this season has gone, because the Vikings, Sam Darnold, who would have thought that? He's had a really good season. The Rams have had a solid season. The only division in the NFC that absolutely sucks really is the NFC South. Commanders have had a great story. Philadelphia keeps doing their thing as always. And on the AFC side of things, yeah, you got the Chiefs. Yeah, whatever. You got the Bills. They're hot on their heels. You got Baltimore and Pittsburgh at their throats doing their thing. Now, I know I said yeah on the Chiefs because the Chiefs, now the one thing for them that is interesting, the possibility of three-peating. That has never happened in NFL history. No team has never three-peated. Could that happen? Who knows? When you look at the AFC side of things, it's shaping up to be pretty good as well. I mean, you got Buffalo, Kansas City, Baltimore, Pittsburgh. You got Houston right now. They are in. And then jockeying for those final couple of playoff spots, you got the Chargers, the Broncos, the Bengals, the Colts. There are several teams that are still jockeying for those slim shots at getting into the playoffs. And on the NFC side, yeah, you got the Bucks, the Commanders, the Falcons. Am I missing anybody?
I don't think so.
I don't think I am. Yeah, that pretty much covers everything. But it's been a very interesting season this year because pretty much all of these playoff spots are locked in. The only thing that we don't know is the seeding part because usually by now, Joey, you know this as well as I do, normally by now, the number one seed is usually locked up, but not this year.
Yeah, not this year.
And before we get to the NFL pick segment, this will be a very interesting week 17. There's a lot of games, or not just week 17, but in the next 2 weeks, the schedule for the NFL is going to be very competitive when it comes to these matchups. Because you got teams that are trying to get into those last couple of spots. And talking about the Commanders with Jaden Daniels, on the flip side of things, Bo Nix. Yeah, we were making fun of him, calling him O-Picks because he was throwing a lot of picks at the start of the season. But Bo Nix has really rallied and has become a way better player in the last quarter of a stretch and the rest of the season. Sean Payton has these boys playing really good football.
I mean, he is, but if he's thinking he's going to win Rookie of the Year, yeah, it's not going to happen.
It's not going to happen.
Did on Sunday.
No, it's not. Because
I mean, Jaden has pretty much wrapped up Rookie of the Year.
Yeah, Jaden Daniels right now is the clear-cut winner to win the Rookie of the Year, in my opinion. And hats off to Peyton for getting Jaden Daniels not Jaden Daniels, Bo Nix under control, excuse me. And also, if we remember, also Russell Wilson was named the starter of the Pittsburgh Steelers before the Jets game. And all of us were questioning, Tomlin, why are you taking out Justin Fields and inserting Russell Wilson in the middle of the season when they were 4-2? There's your answer. Because look at the numbers that Russell Wilson has put over the last several weeks with the Pittsburgh Steelers. He is the definitive starting quarterback of that organization. Mike Tomlin made the right football move to make Russell Wilson the starting quarterback of the Pittsburgh Steelers. And again, folks, we are live here on a first-time edition of our Nation Sports Show here on a Monday night. And at the 11th hour, I became the host for this evening because Ezra had a nice special thing that came down for his family going into the Christmas season. His family in Tennessee did something very nice for him, and I'm pretty sure we're going to get the details of that heading in maybe on Facebook or in our chat, or he'll tell us off the air. But a lot to be happy for Ezra and his family right now as the holiday season. I know for him, it's been a struggle, and happy for him and his family that he's going to get to spend time with his family, taking him out to dinner tonight. That's why he's not here tonight. And it's been a lot of fun. Going to be doing this for the next 2 weeks here on a Monday night for our first time. And we are waiting for Hijacker to join us here for the prediction battle. And just out of curiosity, do you have any scores from Kevin?
I do have scores from Kevin, so I will be reading his off while you do Ezra's.
Okay, and again, folks, for those that don't know, again, we are not going to be, I'll read Ezra's scores and you'll read Kevin's. And for those that don't know, again, we are going to keep this, again, a private matter because Kevin has gone through a rough stretch this year heading into the holiday season, and we completely understand why he has not been mentally wanting to do the show. I know he wants to be here, but just doing what his family, him and his family have been going through the last several weeks. It's so ridiculous what his family has gone through the last couple of weeks. It's just sucks. But glad he's once again been able to send in his scores the last couple of weeks to us, and hopefully he can mentally be better, after the holidays are over. And again, from all of us here on the Sports Show, we wish all of you guys a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. We are so blessed to be here. We are so happy that you're joining us here tonight. And since nobody wants to do shows on Christmas Eve and New Year's Eve, obviously, if you do, you need to be questioned because you need to be spending family time and time with your friends on the holiday season. All that good stuff. But we're here on a Monday night tonight and next Monday, not only in the middle of Monday Night Football, but also in the middle of Monday Night Raw that is happening right now. And next Monday, it is the final Raw on cable television.
That's right.
As Raw moves to Netflix in 2 weeks in LA. And also coming up this weekend in the world of AEW, it is World's End in Orlando, highlighted by the Fatal 4-Way between Moxley, Hangman Adam Page, Orange Cassidy. Hangman Adam Page, Orange Cassidy, obviously Moxley, and oh my God, why am I blanking? Jay White.
If I say Jay White,
and Jay White, and also MJF versus Adam Cole, baby. That'll be taking place as well. Those are the two matches that stick out to me. And also the tournament is going to be continuing, and I think that regardless, how AEW has been the last several weeks, with some of their stuff, this tournament has been pretty solid for them. This Continental tournament has been pretty solid. And that'll be crowning the winner of that this weekend in Orlando. And obviously WWE or Ring of Honor had their Final Battle pay-per-view on Friday at the Hammerstein Ballroom, and Collision was taped for this past Saturday in the Hammerstein Ballroom, and this Wednesday's Dynamite on Christmas was also taped at the Hammerstein. So really cool that AEW is doing some small shows in small places, and I think they need to keep with that. Because when you do shows in smaller smaller venues in big cities, it makes the crowds not only sound better, but look better. And also, congratulations to TNA. They're continuing to build and move up when it comes to arena sizes and building sizes. It's a great time to be a wrestling fan. WWE is the hottest as they've ever been since the Attitude Era, and heading into a new era with Netflix in a couple weeks. That'll be very interesting. And that Raw is shaping up to be one hell of a show. Highlighted by Punk versus Rollins. Rhea Ripley more than likely is going to be going up against Liv Morgan on that Raw.
And let's not forget about Tribal Combat between Roman and Solo.
Tribal Combat!
With the Ula Fala up for grabs.
Yep. And looking forward to what we got coming up here for you on the sports show, and also looking forward to us as wrestling fans, what's in store for us in the next couple weeks. And again, from all of us here on the sports show, we wish you all a very Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. We hope you have a wonderful time with your family and your friends this holiday season. And again, you can follow us on Twitter at Owen_Sports Show, Facebook.com/Nation Sports Show, and where we are live for the sports show for the next couple of weeks on a Monday night. Same time, same YouTube channel, but on a different day for the next 2 weeks. YouTube.com/Nation Sports Show. Be sure to like, share, subscribe, all of that good stuff. Be sure to share all your family and your friends that love the world of sports to tune into our show. And for those that have missed the show, no worries. You can go to the archives on shows that have either been pre-taped and uploaded or our past shows that have been broadcasted live. You can find all of those episodes in a playlist or on those individual sides of the channel on the live section or the video section. And looking forward to another great week of predicting games as we are coming down to the final 2 weeks of our prediction battles. And it's hard to believe that we are so close to another NFL regular season wrapping up. I mean, we said it time and time again, Joey. Enjoy it while you can, because this is going to be a season that will fly by, and it has. It has flown by very quickly.
It really has flown by. But yeah, and for those of y'all who may not be aware, the Packers and the Saints, this week's Monday night game, they will be kicking off in just under 10 minutes.
In frigid Green Bay.
Yeah, in frigid Green Bay. So check your local listings if you're going to be, well, I forgot it's nationally covered. So, it's going to be all over.
It's going to be everywhere, man. If you want to tune into ESPN, if you want to tune into the Manning cast, which is highly entertaining, I must add. Peyton and Eli losing their shit. It's hilarious. But yeah, while we wait for Hijacker, do you want to, before we get to him joining us here, do you want to rattle off our numbers from this past week?
Sure, why not? And again, there is not going to be any change in regards to where everybody's going to finish up, because we all picked the Packers to win last week. So let me see. As of right now, okay, give me just a second. Hang on, let me write these down just so I won't forget.
And for those wondering, I will be reading off Ezra's scores, and Joe will be reading off Kevin's scores as he has sent in his scores for Week 17 in the National Football League. And going into Week 17, there are some very interesting games, including the Broncos and the Bengals on Saturday afternoon in Cincinnati. And Cincinnati has been on a hot streak of winning several games in a row after going under 500, and now they have won several games in a row, and they have to win out if they want to get in. Because if they win this week and then they lose and Denver loses, well, then that does them no good, because Denver would still make it in by virtue of not just the conference record but the overall record.
That's right. So yeah, with those numbers last week, like I said, there's not going to be any change with how this Week 16 wraps up. But Steven and Hijacker are going to be our two winners. They're either going to finish 11-5 based upon tonight's result, or 12-4. And then me, Kevin, and Ezra all finished one game behind them. So we're either going to finish 10-6 or 11-5. So not a bad week.
Not a bad week. We have had a really good stretch of picking games this week. It's been very good the last several weeks, because there was a stretch after you and I had that perfect record in Week 6. There was a stretch where we were having under 500 records, or right at under 500 records, all of us were. And now we have had a really good stretch the last several weeks of picking these games. And we're not doing this because whoever wins this, we're going to be like, oh, we're better than you, blah, blah, blah. I'm better than you. No. This is all in good fun, because
oh yeah, for sure,
it's just giving us something to play for fun. And also as well, shout outs to Hijacker for him and his buddies, making that custom made yearly around our Nation Sports Show Championship Prediction Battles belt. And looking forward to seeing how this last couple of weeks stand out for all of us here on the show, because this is going to be a very competitive last couple of weeks in our prediction battle. And this game is fixing to start. Saints versus Green Bay in frigid Green Bay, where it is snowing right now in Green Bay. Again, these Green Bay fans, they don't care. They'll sit there even if it is below, like they did several years ago in the Ice Bowl when it was the Packers versus the Cowboys. This game should be starting in the next, about 5 minutes? About 5?
Yep, right about 5 minutes.
So it's pretty cool that we're going to be covering this game as it's happening live. Now, as far as the week is concerned, again, we're waiting on Hijacker to join us here. As far as this week is shaping out to be, what are some games that stand out for you on the schedule that it's going to be catching your eye and your interest as we head in to the final 2 weeks of the regular season?
Well, I mean, obviously, 2 games as of right now that really stand out to me are the 2 games that will be taking place on Christmas Day this year, live on Netflix. Chiefs, Steelers, and then the Ravens and the Texans. Those 2 games really stand out to me right now, as well as the Broncos and the Bengals. That's going to be on Saturday. The Packers and the Vikings that will be taking place on Sunday.
Yep.
Oh, you know what? Yep, just got a message from Hijacker saying that he will not be able to make it tonight.
Did he send his scores?
No, he said he's going to have to send them in later.
Okay, so just like for those that don't know, just like what we did for Kevin, we are going to tally his scores. And in the next week's show, what we'll do is like what we did for Kevin last week. Kevin sent in his scores during the game, or during the game of the Niners and the Rams from a couple weeks ago. So Joey will read off his scores for this week, next week, before we do our final prediction battle. And I guess with that being said, let's kick it off.
Yep, let's kick it off.
Wednesday,
with our
Christmas
first game
Day.
on Christmas. It is going to be Patrick Mahomes and the Kansas City Chiefs going into Pittsburgh to take on the Steelers. And I'm going to get things started off with Kevin's score. He has the Chiefs winning in a close one, 20-15.
20-15, he says. Give me a second. I guess I'll go ahead and pick my score. I'm pulling up the scores myself. I can read off Ezra's. I'm going to go with the Chiefs. I'm going to go with Kansas City to beat Pittsburgh in a close one. I'm going to go Kansas City. Let's see. I'm going to go Kansas City. I'm going to go Kansas City 24-21 on a game-winning field goal.
All right, and I'm going to go with the Chiefs as well. I'm going to go game-winning field goal as well, but I'm going to go 20-17.
Okay.
And then you got Ezra's pulled up.
Yes. 30-23 Kansas City.
All right. Up next, it is the other Christmas Day game taking place down in NRG Stadium in Houston as CJ Stroud and the Texans welcome Lamar Jackson and the Baltimore Ravens to town.
And let's see. Ezra is picking the Ravens to beat the Texans 34-27.
All right, and Kevin is picking the Ravens to win as well. He's going 27-22.
Yeah, give me Baltimore in this one as well. Give me Baltimore 28-24.
Yeah, give me Baltimore to win this one. I'm gonna go just a little bit wider out for as far as the margin of victory. Give me the Ravens to win this one, 27-17.
If I'm following the schedule, is the Seattle game the Thursday game?
Yes. The next game is Geno Smith and the Seattle Seahawks going into the Windy City to take on the Chicago Bears on Amazon Prime.
And that's
Thursday
all
night.
I was asking because that's the next game that Ezra has, and I'm going to read off Ezra's score first. He's got Seattle beating his Bears 26-20.
All right, and Kevin has the Seahawks beating the Bears as well, 23-19.
Give me Seattle this one. I'm kind of feeling a little wacky with this one as well because Seattle has been winning these interesting games all season long. Give me Seattle to barely survive Chicago. Give me Seattle 27-25.
Whoa, okay. I'm going to go same margin of victory, but I'm going to go just a little bit lower. Give me the Seahawks to win this one on a game-winning field goal, 16-14.
Next, we have the Chargers going in. I think this. Yeah, this is
It's the first Saturday game.
Yep, Chargers facing the
Chargers
Patriots.
going to Foxborough to take on the Patriots.
Ezra's picking the Chargers to beat the Patriots 27-16.
And Kevin is picking the Chargers to beat the Pats 30-23.
Give me the Chargers as well. Give me LA 31-17 over New England.
Yeah. Give me the Chargers to win this one as well. I'm going to go Chargers 26, Patriots 13.
Next, in the jungle, the mighty jungle, the Bengals take on the Broncos in a highly anticipated matchup to decide who controls their playoff destiny. Because if the Bengals want any shot at making it, they got to beat Denver.
Yes, they do. Oh, man, this game is going to be hard to pick. But I'm going to go and get things started off with Kevin's score. He's got the Bengals over the Broncos. Check this score out. 33-31. And I got a feeling this is going to be a dogfight between these two. And Cincinnati, they know what they're going to have to do in order for them to inch closer to a playoff spot. So I'm going with the home team. I'm going Cincinnati. I think they're going to pull it out. Give me Cincinnati 31-27.
Ezra's following suit. He's picking Cincinnati 28-18. God, this game is so hard to pick. It's so hard. Because Cincinnati has been playing really well, and yeah, so is Denver. Man, their defense has been playing pretty solid as well. Give me the Bengals to survive and stay alive for now. Give me the Bengals in a close game. Give me Joe Burrow to Jamar Chase on a game-winning touchdown. Get this, in overtime. Give me the Bengals to beat the Broncos in OT 30-24.
Wow. All right. Up next, it is our last Saturday game, but this one is at night. It is a battle between NFC West rivals. We got Kyler Murray and the Arizona Cardinals going into LA to take on the Rams.
I'm going to get things started. I'm going to go. Whoa. I'm going to go. Ezra score has me just. What? Give me the Rams to beat the Cardinals. Not even close. Give me the Rams 28-14. Ezra has the Cardinals 24-21.
Well, Kevin has the Rams beating the Cardinals 15-12. I'm going to go with the Rams as well, even though both teams have been looking kind of shaky as of late. But the Rams still have something to play for because they're right now leading the NFC West. And of course, Arizona has now been eliminated from the playoffs, so they have nothing else to play for. So give me the Rams. I'm going to go 23-21, game-winning field goal.
Next, we have the Colts taking on the Giantless. I say Giantless because they're a giant piece of crap.
Let's see. Kevin has the Colts over the Giants 31-25.
Ezra has the Colts over the Giants as well, 20-10, and I'm going to follow suit with Indianapolis. I got Indy winning 31-7.
I got the Colts winning. I'm going to go 23-10.
Up next, we have the Bills taking on the Jets.
Mr. Enigma.
Documentary just came out a week ago.
Let's see. Kevin is picking the Bills outright. 39-19.
Ezra is picking the Bills over the Jets, 35-23.
All right, I'm going to go with the Bills as well because, yes, they did struggle with New England, but if they struggle with the Jets, then they're going to have to, or they're pretty much going to have some explaining to do come playoff time. But I'm going to go with the Bills. I'm going to go Bills 34, Jets 10.
Up next on the schedule.
Steven, did you say your score?
I did not. Thank you very much for that. Yeah, give me the Bills as well. Give me the Bills. Give me Buffalo 30-23.
All right, up next, it is a battle between I wouldn't say a battle. This is more like an AFC South snooze fest. We have the Tennessee Titans going into Jacksonville to take on the Jaguars.
Ezra is picking his home away from home Tennessee Titans to beat the Jacksonville Jaguars 17-13.
Kevin is picking the Jaguars over the Titans in this one, 20-19. You know, I'm going to side with the home team. I'm going to go with Jacksonville in this one. I'm going to go Jacksonville 17-15.
Yeah, I don't feel good about it. Give me the Jags because they actually have a quarterback, unlike the Titans that we won't remember. Give me the Titans to lose to the Jaguars. Give me Jacksonville 19-16.
All right, up next we have the Las Vegas Raiders going into New Orleans to take on the Saints.
Oh boy.
Let's see. Kevin has the Saints beating the Raiders 12-9. I think I'm going to go with the Saints as well. I'm going to go Saints 13 over the Raiders. You know what? 13-9. 1 point higher.
Raiders 21-7. Ezra has the Raiders over the Saints. Saints over the Raiders. Yeah, Ezra has the Raiders. Saints over the Raiders. Damn it. Saints over the Raiders 21-7.
And now your score, sir.
Yeah, give me the Aints to beat the Raiders. Give me the Saints. give me the Saints 17-13.
All right. Who up next? This is going to be a doozy. Jordan Love and the Green Bay Packers going into Minnesota to take on Sam Darnold and the Minnesota Vikings.
Oh boy.
Who? Well, I'll go ahead and get things started off with Kevin's score. He's got the Vikings over the Packers 41-30.
Ezra's picking the Vikings over the Packers 34-24.
You know what? Same deficit, a little bit higher score. Give me the Vikings over the Packers 37-27.
Give me Minnesota in a close one because divisional games are very hard to predict as far as the scores. Give me Minnesota I'm going to go a little bit closer and a little bit lower. Give me Minnesota to beat Green Bay 21-17.
Okay. All right, up next we have Bryce Young and the Carolina Panthers going into Tampa Bay to take on the Bucs.
This game, believe it or not, is a little bit tricky. Because the Panthers, believe it or not, have been playing pretty good football over the last several weeks. But I'm going to get things started with Ezra's score. He has got the Bucs beating the Panthers 27-26.
And Kevin is picking the Bucs as well. He's going to go 28-19.
I am going to go with the Bucs as well. I'm going to go with the Bucs to get the clean sweep over Carolina. I'm going to go with the Bucs. I'm going to go Tampa Bay 24-20.
Almost the exact score. I'm going with the Bucs 27-20.
Okay.
All right, up next, Tua Tagovailoa and the Miami Dolphins going into Cleveland to take on the Browns. Now, granted, Cleveland is a cold weather environment, and I'm pretty sure it's going to be cold up there in Cleveland, Ohio on Sunday, but I do think that this is the one game in which Tua, he may not play the best, but I think he's going to lead Miami to a win. So with that being said, give me the Dolphins because the Browns, they just look like they're lost right now. Give me the Dolphins to win this one. I'm going to go 20-14.
Ezra is picking the Dolphins. He's picking the Finns to beat the Browns, doubling up 28-14.
Let's see. Kevin is picking the Dolphins over the Browns 20-15.
Give me the Dolphins to finally win in a cold environment and stay alive on their side of the playoffs. Give me Miami 20-13.
All right. Up next, our last 4 o'clock game is going to see Cooper Rush and the Dallas Cowboys going into Philadelphia to take on the Eagles, who may be without Jalen Hurts because of the concussion he suffered on Sunday.
Regardless, Jalen Hurts. No Jalen Hurts. This is the week where Philadelphia wraps up the NFC East Division title. Give me Philadelphia to beat the Cowboys 27-17. And Ezra is also picking the Eagles over the Cowboys 30-17.
And Kevin is picking the Eagles over the Cowboys 40-21. And I'm going to go with the Eagles outright as well. I'm going to go 37-19. All right. Sunday Night Football. And if you are a Washington Commanders fan like I am, you're going to want to tune into this one because this could be the game that puts us in the playoffs, ladies and gentlemen. Michael Penix and the Atlanta Falcons coming into the nation's capital to take on Jaden Daniels and my Commanders on Sunday Night Football. And I'm going to go ahead and get things started off with Kevin's score. He's picking the Commanders over the Falcons 30-20.
And Ezra is following suit, picking Washington over Atlanta in a close game, 27-21.
And after what I saw from the non-turnover portion of the offense, I honestly think that we are going to make the Falcons stay in Washington a very long one. Give me my Commanders. I think we're going to pull it out on Sunday Night Football this week. Give me my Commanders. I'm going to go 31 to, let's say, 17.
Give me Washington to punch their ticket into the playoffs. Give me the Commanders. Give me Washington 30-20.
Same score as Kevin.
Oh, wow. And wrapping up the Week 17 schedule, it is Monday Night Football in the Motor City, where the top number one seed in the NFC for now, the Detroit Lions, take on the injury-prone San Francisco 49ers.
And I do want to point out this game is in San Francisco and not the Motor City.
Motor City, excuse me, my bad.
Yeah, this game will be taking place in what Hijacker might like to call
Santa Clara.
Yes, Santa Clara. But regardless, this is still going to be the Lions game to win. Oh, well, this is going to be the Lions game to lose here, especially since now they have a clear path once again to winning that number one overall seed. And I'm telling you, if you're Detroit, then you need to win this game so that whenever you play Minnesota the following week on your home field, you'll be able to wrap up that number one seed in the NFC. So Detroit, they need to win this one. So I'm going to go with Detroit in this one. I'm going to go Detroit. I'm going to go 24-21 on a game-winning field goal in overtime.
And
Kevin
Ezra
is picking the Lions as well, 30-20.
Ezra is picking the Lions as well, 33-28. And for the first time all year long, there is a clean sweep on the board because pretty much all year long we have all gone against the grain at one point or another. This is probably the first time that I can think of all year long where we all agree on who we think is going to win on these games. Give me Detroit to beat San Francisco, or in Hijacker's geographical ways of being correct, Santa Clara. Give me the Lions over the Santa Clara 49ers, as Hijacker would call them. Give me the Lions 34-14.
So yeah, I will point out that there are just a couple of differences, and that is the fact that Ezra is picking the Cardinals over the Rams, which we all picked.
Oh yeah,
the
that's right.
Rams.
That's right.
He also picked the Titans over the Jaguars.
Pretty much across the board, we all agreed on these games.
Yep, we're just waiting on Hijacker scores, and if I know Hijacker, he's probably gonna throw in some curveballs.
Oh yeah, he'll throw some curveballs in there. Knowing him,
whenever we get the score from tonight's game between the Packers and the Saints, I will update our overall standings. And once Hijacker sends his scores in, I will add them to the score. I will add them to the scorecard, and we will just go from there.
Yep, pretty much we all agreed on all these games. Could not believe that Cardinals-Rams score by Ezra. That was a weird score. That was very interesting. But yeah, also want to make an announcement regarding next week's show. If you have kept score with some of these end-year shows, next week will be obviously our final show for 24. But also this will be the show where we give our top favorite moments of the year, whether that be a team winning a championship, whether that be specific games that took place during the NFL season, even the Super Bowl counts, or any of the playoff games from last year count, because they still happen within the calendar year. So top 5 moments of 2024 will be one of our discussions for next week. And all of that good stuff. And that'll be a lot of fun. And obviously next week it is the final week of our prediction battles. And that will be the deciding factor in who wins. Pretty much.
Right.
Only if we come down to a tiebreaker. Now, for those that don't know, when we do, whoever has a tying record going into that final game, whoever has the correct team winning the game and the closest score of that game that they're picking as their tie-breaking game, that is who wins the championship for that season. And if you're going to be, and I would say if anybody does this for fun, if anybody out there that wants tips and doing this for fun, I would say pick your tie-breaking game very wisely.
Yes, indeed.
It all comes down to being gutsy and, most importantly, have a lot of fun. Don't take this serious, because all this is for us is just something fun we love doing. Because when we first started doing this, when the core 4 of us started doing this 3 years ago, in 2021, we didn't even have a prediction battles. It was just us picking the games for fun. And it's been a lot of fun since we made this into a predictions game, because this is just something we look forward to, because it makes the games even more intriguing. We always look forward to doing this every single year, and it's been another rousing success for us. And looking forward to our final show of 2024, heading into 2025. Cannot wait for that next week. That's going to be a lot of fun. Top 5 moments of the year, plus the latest breaking news in the NFL, and so much more. And right now, I believe, do we have a score update for the game?
Give me just a second. We do. The Packers have jumped on the board first. They currently lead the Saints by a score of 7-0.
And
via a Josh Jacobs touchdown run.
Let's see. And right now in frigid Green Bay, according to the internet, it says it's 33 degrees.
Oh, sorry. Scratch that. It was a Jordan Love 2-yard touchdown pass to Dontavian Wicks, but it was set up via Josh Jacobs' first down run.
Yep. So this has been cool. You know, keeping up with the game as it's happening. and we're looking forward to next week, because we'll get to do this again during the middle of a game. And let's see. The Packers looks like they had the ball yet again.
Yes, they do. It is 3rd and 7 at their own 31-yard line.
And incomplete.
Hold on. Jordan Love has tossed a pass to Romeo Dubs for a 15-yard pickup. Fresh set of downs for Green Bay.
Very nice.
But I think that'll just about do it for tonight.
Yeah, pretty much. Again, we'll tally these scores into our to our picks for tonight. Nothing will change. But a lot of fun with you guys tonight. Thank you for those that tune in on tonight, and for those that tune in on demand. Thank you very much as well. We are very excited to do this again next week. And for those that watched live, thank you very much. And for those that watch this on demand, thank you very much as well. And again, from myself, Ezra, you, Joey, and Kevin, Hijacker, and all of us on the sports show, and also shout outs to William Gyron and Randy Gyron and Sprocket. Shout outs to everybody out there. We wish you, from all of us here on the sports show and friends of ours on the sports show, we wish you all a Merry Christmas.
Yes,
and a Happy New Year.
A very Merry Christmas and a very Happy New Year. Enjoy,
and also
friends and family.
Yes, and all of us here on the sports show and the Nation's Corner crew wish you all a very Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. And also don't forget to follow the Nation's Corner on Twitter at Nation's Corner, Facebook at Nation's Corner, where they are live on most Saturday nights at 7 p.m. Eastern, 6 Central, 4 p.m. Pacific. Join the guys and gal at youtube.com/the Nation's Corner, where they recap all things professional wrestling. And again, you can follow us on Twitter at ON_Sports Show, Facebook.com/Our Nation Sports Show, and where we are live on most Tuesdays, sometimes Wednesdays, hell, even sometimes a rare Thursday. But tonight and next Monday, it is a rare Monday night appearance for us during the middle of Monday Night Raw and the middle of Monday Night Football during the NFL regular season. It is wrapping up. And oh my goodness, that was I'm a little behind on the Sirius XM feed, but that was a very interesting play that happened a few minutes ago when Jordan Love threw that wobbly pass to Jacobs to make a play out of that. But anyways, yes, thank you for tuning in tonight, everybody, to the show. Joey, final thoughts?
Amazing show as always. Hate that we couldn't have Kevin, Ezra, and Hijacker on the show tonight, but hopefully we'll have all three of them back next week as we give our final predictions for the NFL regular season pick segment, in which after week 18 we will, of course, crown our champion as far as the winner of the pick segment of our third annual pick segment. But yeah, that's pretty much it. I mean, enjoy the sports that comes on TV, and like Steven has said throughout the show, I want to wish everyone out there a very, very Merry Christmas and a very Happy New Year, and we look forward to seeing you next week. As Steven has said, we will go over our top moments of the year for the sports aspect of 2024. So, and I'm going to go ahead and log off here because my laptop's about to die on me. So, peace out, gents, and I'll see you all next week.
Great job as always. And that has been my colleague for this evening, the co-hosting with me this evening, JT Joey Thornton. And again, from all of us here on the sports show, we hope that you all have a happy and safe holiday with your family and your friends. Cherish those around you. Be grateful, to the people in present, and cherish the memories that you have with loved ones that will live on in your memories for a very long time and for the rest of your lives that are not unfortunately here. Very blessed to be doing this show every single week or if I'm not at a concert, predominantly I am here doing this show with you guys. And this is always the highlight of the week for me, doing this show with you guys every single week and talking about the NFL and the NBA and whatever we get into. It's a lot of fun. We'll sprinkle in a little bit of music, a little bit of wrestling, and just very, very, very cool that we get to do this show. And again, shout outs to our video guy, Hijacker Mike. Shout outs to Randy Gyron and William Gyron. William's been on the show. Randy's been a part of the show since it pretty much started with the core of us. Once we got the core going in September of 21, ever since we have finally established our show and got the people on here that love doing this show and that have been contributing for the last nearly 3 years together. Once we finally found the right key pieces to be on the show, we have had nothing but a good time. Poison reference. Nice. I didn't even realize I just did that. But anyways, folks, again, thank you for tuning in tonight. For those that tune in on demand, thank you very much as well. You can follow us on Twitter at Owen_Sports Show, Facebook.com/Our Nation Sports Show, and where we are live on most Tuesdays, sometimes Wednesdays, even a rare Thursday from a time or two. But tonight and next week, we are live at YouTube.com/Our Nation Sports Show. Same time, same YouTube channel, sometimes on a different day. It just depends on our schedule. And again, shout outs to Kevin and Ezra. And hope you guys have a very Merry Christmas with your families. And shout outs to Randy, shout outs to William, shout outs to Hijacker and everybody else out there. And looking forward to having another great year next year as we wrap up our year for the sports show next year, or for this year, excuse me, on next Monday, December 30th at the same time, 7 p.m. Eastern, 6 Central, 4 p.m. Pacific. We cannot wait to give our top 5 moments and games of 2024. I mean, that could be anything in the games, teams who won championships, signings, you name it. Anything that happened this year, it is on the table. On the table. So with that being said, again, from all of us here at our Nation Sports Show and the Nation's Corner, we wish you all a very Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year, and hope you guys have a wonderful time surrounded by loved ones, family, your friends, eating lots of good food, laughing with each other, loving one another, and just being all around good people to one another and to your fine selves. So with that being said, for Ezra Vickery, for K-Rod, Kevin Rory, JT, Joey Thornton, for Hijacker Mike, for Randy Gyron, William Gyron, and our cat of the show, Sprocket, I have been your host for this evening at the 11th hour, Stephen Wyand, and thank you very much, everybody, for tuning in to another edition of our Nation Sports Show. Merry Christmas, Happy New Year. We will see you next week on our final show for 2024. Same bat time, same YouTube channel. On a second time on a live Monday night. Take care of yourselves. Have a very Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. And we will see you next week as we wrap up 2024. One more time for the year 2024 for another edition of our Nation Sports Show. Peace.
Turn me up.